I remember, when I was in 6th grade, I was the kind of kid who loved school. I was talkative, energetic, always first to raise my hand in class, participate in speech competitions and run on the sports field. I was the class topper and I thrived in that environment. I valued friends a lot and friendship was very important to me. Then came Reena. She was new. She joined our school at the start of the academic year, a quiet girl with sharp eyes and a sweet smile. She came up to me the very first day, introduced herself, and we clicked in an instant. Soon we sat together, shared our lunch, shared our stories. Life was good. Everything was going smooth for the first few weeks, but soon something began to shift. Reena started telling me things like, Hiba, I completed memorizing the entire textbook. Hiba, I studied for 8 hours yesterday. My parents are so worried. Hiba, I studied for the entire academic year. Hiba, I did this. Hiba, I did that. Oh my God. At first, I just thought she was excited about studies. But this behavior continued every day. Every single conversation revolved around how much she studied, how prepared she was, how hard she was working. And every time she said such things to me, something within me tightened. I felt like she was not just sharing, she was competing. I started to feel watched and measured. And I began to wonder, is she trying to intimidate me? Is this a game to her? And am I being dragged into a competition that I never signed up for? I noticed that I began pulling away and assuming that every single word she said was calculated. When someone you care about starts feeling like a threat, it messes with you. Her constant reminders of how much she studied made me feel like I was falling behind. Like she was waiting for an opportunity for me to slip so that she could take my spot. That fear turned into stress, and that stress slowly turned into resentment. This strained relationship screwed up my happiness and peace of mind. Not just me. Whispers started in the classroom corridor. Everyone started talking behind her back. And guess what? I jumped in and I started talking behind her back. I also showed my displeasure through silent glances, sarcastic tones, and subtle gestures meant to hurt. And then one day, it worked. We were all chatting, me, Reena, and a close friend. And Reena made one of her usual annoying comments. And to make a point, I leaned into my friend and whispered something to her, looking Reena in the eye, so that Reena would know that I am talking about her. Her smile completely faded, and in a few minutes, she began to cry. And do you know what I said? Reena, don't act like a victim. Nothing happened. At that moment, I felt justified. I believed that she was playing a game, and I refused to be manipulated. The whole year was filled with tension between us, and I just thought, I'm done with her and her narcissism. In my eyes, she deserved it, and I almost decided that that was the end of our relationship. Years passed, I moved schools, made new friends. Life was different, but I carried that same version of Reena with me, the toxic show-off girl who always pulled others down to climb higher. 3 years later, I was invited to a friend's reunion. And guess who walked in? Reena. Yes, the same old Reena. I immediately prepared myself to face her because I didn't know what to expect. But what I saw completely caught me off guard. She was different, warm, joyful, laughing easily. No sense of arrogance or no edge in her tone. Just someone at peace, very bubbly. I immediately went to her and I hesitantly approached her. And I couldn't believe she started talking casually with me. Slowly, the wall between us crumbled. And then Reena said something to me that I'll never forget in my life. She said, Hiba, when I first joined the school, I looked up to you so much. You were all I wished I could be. But remember when we wrote our exams, I got the 2nd rank. I was so happy, I felt so accomplished. And I went home thinking my mom would be proud. But you know what she said, Hiba? She said, did you get the 1st rank? And then when I told her, you got the 1st rank, Hiba, you know what she said? Hiba got better than you. Even after that, she kept comparing me with you, Hiba. One day when you came to my home, the moment you left, she started pointing out how confident you are, how bold you are, how you even sit. That hurt me more than I can explain, Hiba. And I just started to lose myself. I felt like I was just someone who was not you. I just Hurt me, Hiba. Yeah, I just wanted to tell you that. That's it. In that moment, I froze. I couldn't believe Reena shared something so personal to her with me. 3 years ago, if her intention was to intimidate me, she wouldn't be sharing something that would make her so vulnerable to me. Have I misunderstood her? My dear friends, as a matter of fact, yes, I did. Can you imagine yourself in Reena's shoes being invalidated by her own mother? Won't you feel shattered? The image of Reena I had in my head shattered. Her words hit me like a wave. It wasn't arrogance, it wasn't a competition, it wasn't a mind game. It was insecurity, a silent cry for validation. She wasn't trying to outshine me, she was trying to earn space in a world where she felt shadowed. All the boastings, comparisons, study hours, none of it was to hurt me. It was to earn validation. It was a 12-year-old trying to be seen in a house where even a brilliant second rank didn't feel seen. I misunderstood her struggle as arrogance and I labeled her pain as pride. This moment taught me that others' actions are not often about us. It is about the battles they are fighting silently. Suddenly, I saw the past through a different lens. All the times she mentioned her accomplishments, which I perceived as boasting, was not to intimidate me. It was her subconscious way of seeking recognition, hoping that I would be proud of her the same way I assumed everyone was proud of me. I understood how our perceptions shape our reality. I created a version of Reena in my head which was not even true. I judged her without ever really knowing her struggles. That day, me and Reena, we talked more and more, and to my surprise, we slowly rebuilt our relationship and friendship, and that gave me profound happiness. Today, me and Reena, we are very good friends, and I value that bond more than ever. Sometimes, we often confuse others' behavior with their real intent. What looks like arrogance may be a mask for pain. What may seem like a challenge may be a call for friendship. I just want to share another interesting incident that happened at my home a few months ago. With 3 siblings at home, drama is practically on the daily menu. But there is this one instance which stuck with me, not because of how loud or chaotic it was, but because of the way it was handled. It was a regular weekday evening. My 9-year-old sister was buzzing with energy, wanted someone to play with. She looked around. No one was free except for my 5-year-old brother, peacefully watching his Peppa Pig cartoon on TV. So my sister immediately went up to him. Hey, come down, let's play. I'm so bored. My brother, he didn't even look at her. He just said, no, I'm not coming. My sister, she was bored out of her mind. She won't take no for an answer. She kept pestering him again and again. And when none of that worked, she blocked the TV. That's it. My brother, as tiny as he was, bursted with frustration and pushed her away. And just like that, World War III erupted in our living room. Screaming, crying, accusations, you name it, both of them ran to my dad, tears running down their cheeks, yelling over each other. The kind of chaos that makes most parents lose their temper immediately, yell at their kids and say things like, can't you two just get along? One more fight, no park or phone for a week. But my dad didn't do that. He didn't react, but instead he responded. He knelt down to their level, separated them gently, and did something very interesting. He spoke to each one of them privately. First, he went to my brother. He sat beside him, wrapped an arm around his tiny shoulders, and softly said, you feel sad, ma? Okay, tell daddy what happened, I'll help you out. My brother, he was crying and he said, Daddy, I was just watching TV. She kept disturbing me. I told her I don't want to play. But she just kept blocking the TV, so I pushed her away. So my dad calmed him down and said, I understand. You were enjoying your show. It must have been really frustrating when someone is irritating you, right, ma? Okay, I understand. But if you feel angry, should you push her or you should come and tell mommy and daddy? My brother looked down and said, call you. My dad smiled at him and said, I understand. We all make mistakes. It's okay. And then he kissed him on the cheek and then moved on to my sister. With the same warm hug and the same gentle tone, he asked her, you feel sad, ma? Okay, tell daddy what happened. My sister was sobbing and she said, I was so bored. I just wanted to play with him for 5 minutes. but he told he won't play and just pushed me away. My dad acknowledged her and then said, I understand. You are feeling left out, you are feeling lonely. It must have been really frustrating, ma. But is it okay to force someone? It's not wrong for you to want to play, but you cannot force someone, ma. Okay? Daddy will play with you. And then he kissed her on the cheek. That's it. In just 10 minutes, my dad managed to calm both of them down. Not a single scolding, not a single threat. All he did was to see the same situation through two different lenses. That changed everything. Look, if my dad would have shouted, yelled at them and punished them without even listening to them, what would my siblings think? Bah, this daddy is such an angry fellow. If you go to him, he won't listen to us. He'll just punish us. That would have planted tiny seeds of resentment within them. But what my dad did instead is to create a safe space where feelings were acknowledged and boundaries were clarified. That changed everything. Look, he didn't just solve a fight. He built trust which would ultimately lead to an amazing relationship. This moment taught me that when we take time to look through others' eyes, we don't just solve problems. We build bridges of trust that strengthens relationships for the long run. This single shift of pausing and looking through others' lens can take a boiling conflict and turn it into a bonding moment. In my home, this approach helped to create an environment of calm and emotional safety where even tiny hearts like that of my brothers feel heard. There was this research conducted by the scientists at Harvard University to find the key to a happy life. This research was conducted from 1938 for 85 long years. According to this research, they have concluded that it is the relationship we have with others that give us the greatest happiness in our life. Relationships matter to you, my dear friends. It matters to you, me, and everybody in all walks of life. And one of the strongest ways to build amazing relationship is to develop the skill of going through others' perspectives, through others' lenses. Perception is powerful. It can either build bridges or burn them. So before you judge, pause. Before you assume, ask. Before you label, listen. Because behind every behavior, there is a story. Dear ladies and gentlemen, today I have just shared with you two types of relationship. One is a friendship and the other is a wonderful relationship between a parent and a child. In both these instances, just one thing mattered: looking through different lenses. In your life, you might come across various relationship challenges, whether with your parents, grandparents, siblings, teachers, colleagues, friends, whichever it may be. If relationships matter to you and you want to be happy in your life, then start looking through different lenses. With this is Hiba signing off. Until I meet you again, God bless you all.